Welcome to the Realty Plus Real Talk series, where we talk to industry experts to know their honest views and opinions and real facts and figures. I'm Sapna Srivastava, editor Realty Plus magazine, and today we have with us a very senior economist who has a career spanning more than 20 years now and is currently National Director Research and Chief Economist at Knight Frank India. I welcome on the show Ms. Rajni Sinha. Mr. Sinha, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Sapna, and a pleasure to be here.
So, Ms. Sinha, we'll be talking a lot about economy. We would like to know your views on what's happening, especially with real estate, because as you know, real estate is going through a lot of pains and struggle because of the current crisis, the health crisis that we are experiencing. But recent Knight Frank report suggested that real estate players are optimistic and they feel that next 6 months will do moderately better. So, what would you attribute these views to?
Sapna, we had done this survey for the period of April to June quarter. And what we found was that the current sentiment index, which gives an idea of what the real estate industry players are expecting for the sector, that had fallen to 22 level, which is not just in the pessimistic zone. So any reading below 50 shows pessimism. So it's not just in the pessimistic zone, it's also the lowest reading that we have recorded. But importantly, the future sentiment index, which gives an indication of what the industry players are expecting for the next 6 months, that showed an improvement compared to the previous quarter. So what we are inferring is that as the economy started opening up, the sentiments of the real estate players for the future, for the coming months, is slowly improving. And if you look around, as we saw the unlocking happening, we saw the economic activities resuming. Most of the economic parameters have also been showing improvement in the month of June, July. So, if you look at, say, IIP, PMI, the electricity consumption, GST collection, auto sales, all these economic indicators have been subdued and is still much lower than the levels that they had in the corresponding period of the previous year. But nevertheless, on a sequential basis, on a monthly basis, we are seeing some improvement happening. And with the economic indicators improving, it's not surprising that sentiments for the real estate sector is also improving. And it's not just the economic parameters improving, which is boosting sentiments. It's also a whole lot of stimulus measures given by the government and the Central Bank of India. So if you see, since March, RBI has already cut the policy interest rate by around 115 basis points. They have also injected enough liquidity into the system. They announced a loan moratorium till the period of August. So all these factors, these stimulus measures announced by the central bank, has also been supporting the sentiments for the real estate sector.
Okay, you spoke about the initiatives the government has taken. The finance central bank has taken. We spoke about the stimulus packages, the last mile funding, stress fund, things like that. What is the sentiment? Yes, it has boosted the sentiments in the market. But what about the ground realities and the impact? Is it the interest rates, lowering of home loan interest rates? Is it going to boost demand among consumers? And with all these stress funds and the stimulus packages, are we going to see positive impact on the projects on the ground?
So the cut in policy interest rate, like I said, the RBI has already cut by 150 basis points. And importantly, what has happened is that transmission has also been good. So not only the policy interest rate by the central bank has gone down, it has also resulted in bank lending rate going down. And also for other market instruments, we have seen the interest rate going down. So these are definitely positive for the real estate sector. The housing loan has gone down to around 15-year low levels, which is a very positive factor. But like you said, if I talk about the ground reality, at the current juncture, the real estate players as well as buyers, the home buyers, they are concerned about these uncertain times, the turbulence around us. So we may not see an immediate pickup in housing demand because of the low interest rate. But once things normalize a little, the low interest rate would be a big positive for the housing demand. And it's not just, like I said, it's not just lower interest rate. The other big positive is the liquidity injection by the central bank. So if I look at this 21 lakh crore package, stimulus package, which was announced by the government, around 40% of that, which is around 8 lakh crores, has gone into injecting liquidity into the system through various forms, through, cut in CRR, through TLTRO. And specifically, they have injected liquidity into the NBFC sector. They have also injected liquidity into National Housing Board. So all these factors will also support the real estate sector. But yes, it will take a little time because liquidity injection was much required at this point of time. The other critical thing which the government has announced is the loan restructuring. Mm-hmm. This was much required at this point in time, because if you see, the NPA in the real estate sector had already, started going up and was high even before the COVID-19 crisis. So if not for a measure like this, post-COVID, we would have seen the NPA further spiking for the real estate sector. So I would say this loan restructuring, which has been announced, was also much required at this point in time. Mm-hmm. And the important thing is that government has also, tried to put checks and balance in place to ensure that this loan restructuring is not misused by the banks or by the borrowers. So, this loan restructuring would only be targeted at stressed assets because of the COVID-19 scenario. So these things are very positive for the for overall for the economy and for the real estate sector.
So as you mentioned,
yes, I would just like to add one more thing. So while, the central bank has injected liquidity into the system and they have cut interest rate and, this loan restructuring, but the sector would also require a little bit of demand boosting measures, in the form of tax incentives or some other forms which gives more money in the hands of the people to give them the confidence to go ahead and do this big ticket item purchase. So I would say demand inducing measure is another factor which would be required for the ground reality to improve.
Yeah, because a lot of developers say stamp duty and GST, if that can be reduced or waived off for some time, that would be a big relief for the consumers and probably will, pick up the demand. So like you mentioned, yes, maybe immediate impact we might not see, but yes, in the long term, we will start seeing the results of all the measures that government has taken and RBI has taken. Another good move that government initiated was the affordable rental housing scheme. After all the large-scale migration of workers from the city, the intentions behind it is noble. But what are the implementation challenges you foresee that would need to be considered?
So, Sapna, I would say this affordable rental housing scheme is a very good move. There are, around 1.08 lakh housing units under Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission, which are vacant, which are ready and was still to be allotted. So it's a very good idea to use that for something like affordable rental housing. And anyways, we are of the view that affordable rental housing scheme is a good idea because it will benefit more people as against directly allotting these houses to a select group. So yes, it is a very good idea. Now, coming to the challenges, yes, there are going to be challenges in implementation of this. Now, if you look at how the government is proposing to implement it, there are two models that they are suggesting. So under the first model, what they are saying is that these houses under JNNURM, which are vacant, they can be given to developers for retrofitting, for developing, and can be used for affordable rental housing. Now here, the rentals will be fixed based on a survey, will be fixed by the government, and so will be the increment in rent for the next 5 years. It will be predetermined and fixed. Now here, the viability of a model like this would depend on how much capital goes into retrofitting and development of these projects. Because, for the maintenance and for the other costs, if the costs keep going up, but the rentals and the incremental in rental is fixed, then the viability would become a challenge for the scheme. Even if you look at the other model where the government is saying that any private or public entity can use their vacant land for affordable rental housing. Again, here also the model is that rent would be fixed based on a survey. The increment every year would also be fixed. So the viability of the model would really depend on how much of capital would be required to, develop a project like this. As we are aware that, the yields for rental housing is very low in India. It's around 2%. So a lot of private entities may not find this a very attractive proposition. So I would say viability will be the key challenge here. Now, government can, look at tweaking it a little to make it more viable and attractive for private participation. So, for instance, maybe one model could be that this of a particular project, affordable rental housing project, instead of fixing the rental for the entire project, say if the rental is fixed for 60% at a subsidized rate based on the survey, and 40% is left flexible for the developers to fix it as per the market rate, or still subsidize but give them more flexibility in fixing the prices, then something like this could make the model more viable. So we will have to see further details of this and see how this pans out. But right now the main challenge I see is in terms of viability of this model, because private players will not get into it unless it turns out to be viable for them. So yes, that would be the biggest challenge for this.
So financial viability and attracting the private players would be the biggest challenge to make this scheme a success. Talking about investments now, we have seen a lot of private funds coming forward for distressed projects. Private equity funds are investing in India, but mostly they have been in commercial segment. So one is, what is the investment, the private equity investment trends that you are currently seeing in real estate, and what would make residential segment more attractive for private equity going forward?
If we look at the trend of private equity investment into Indian real estate sector, the investments had been on an upswing. So for 2018, we had a PE investment of around 8.8 billion US dollar. In 2019, we saw the PE investment at around 6.8 billion dollar. So it's a little lower than 2018, and that was mainly because of dearth of mature assets in the market. But I would say overall, it's still a very healthy number. Now, in 2020, we saw the PE investment fall sharply, and the period for which we have the data, Jan to May, we saw the PE investment falling to around $230 million. And that shouldn't come as a surprise. That was mainly because of this whole COVID-19 related concerns. In this Jan to May period, we had around 2 months, April to May, of complete lockdown in the economy, where most of the economic activities had come to a halt. So it's not surprising that it's getting reflected in lower PE numbers for this period. Now, where this PE money had been going, it was mainly going into the office segment and the warehousing segment. The residential segment has been seeing PE investment falling in the last few years. And that's mainly because, as you would be aware, the residential segment has not been doing too well in the last few years. Now, what can be done to improve PE investment in this segment? One, the demand for residential housing needs to improve. So now, the investors are out of the residential market. It's mainly the end users who are there. So it's very important for the demand to pick up. And here I would say that, government can play a role if the government comes up with measures to invigorate demand in the form of tax incentives. That could give a boost to demand for housing, or widening the scope of CLSS scheme, or any such scheme which gives a boost to housing demand would be much required at this point in time. The other thing is that IRR for residential segment has been falling in the last few years. And for that to improve, it's very important that the sales pick up, the cost goes down. So, the prices go up. Only when the IRR in the segment goes up will the investors find the segment more attractive? Another thing that has been happening is that post the ILFS debacle and during this whole period of NBFC crisis, construction finance for residential projects have become an issue. So if that is sorted out, which the government has done a lot of measures, this whole liquidity injections, and especially into the NBFC sector, that should help ease availability of credit for the residential sector. So that's another thing which will improve sentiments for the investors. Then again, developers in the residential segment are highly leveraged at this point in time. So if they start deleveraging, that would also give confidence to the PE investors. And lastly, I would say that the residential developers, they need to increase their equity contribution in the projects to give more confidence to the PE investors. So I think broadly, these are some of the factors that can help PE investors sentiment for the residential sector.
So mainly two factors: increasing the confidence of the investor, and second is increasing the demand. Demand is already there. We know there is a latent demand which is there for housing. So the only thing is how we bring it up, this thing. While we are talking about investment, a very good news for real estate has been the REITs. The first REIT outperformed BSE Realty Index. The second REIT has done very well. It was oversubscribed within few days. How do you see the future of REIT? Right now, again, it is only in commercial segment. How much time will it take for it to come to the residential segment? So what are your views on its future in India?
So I would say, the kind of performance we have seen of these two REITs, that gives an idea of what do the investors think about the potential of the real estate sector. So this whole COVID-19 crisis, this is a temporary phenomenon. If you look at a longer term, if you take a longer term view, the fundamentals of India's real estate sector, especially for office, is still very strong. If you compare the rentals here in Indian market in US dollar terms to other, comparable countries, compared to the developed countries, definitely it's much lower, but it's also attractive compared to the other emerging markets. And also then this whole, benefit we have in terms of skilled IT sector employees that we have in India. So I would say that because of the IT sector, specifically because of the IT segment and the large talent pool that we have in India, the fundamentals for the office segment is very attractive in the long run. And that is getting reflected in these REIT performance. So broadly, I would say that the fundamentals for the sector is very strong. This is a transit phase that we are going through. And, this strong fundamentals are also getting reflected in the REIT performance.
The residential, but you feel that it will still take time for REITs to come in the residential segment?
Residential is going to take time because, like I mentioned before, residential, what has happened is there are a lot of changes that has happened in the last few years. If you see earlier, the segment was mainly dominated by investors. Now we have end users. So once the end users are there, it's very important to cater specifically to their requirements, to take into account the affordability parameter, to make it, affordable and viable for them to go ahead to make these purchases. For residential also, the scope is huge because, like you mentioned, the demand is there. The latent demand is there for housing. The housing shortage in India is huge. So it's an irony that on one hand we have huge housing shortage, and at the same time we have these huge housing inventories lying unsold. So somewhere that match has to be brought, that people get the houses for which they can afford, for which the demand is there. So only when that will happen gradually. If you see more and more the developers are understanding the requirement which is there in the market and they're tweaking their products. So that has been happening, and slowly we will see the supply and demand being in line, and that will help the residential segment pick up.
Correct.
Even now, I would say, for the residential segment, it's a very good time because prices have gone down a little. Interest rates are at an all-time low. So people who are confident about the future income streams, they would find this a very attractive opportunity to come ahead and buy.
Yeah, a lot of developers said they asked for COVID discount. So, that's a term which has come up. So, yeah, like you mentioned, yes, for REITs also, again, once they ensure them that a consistent revenue stream from residential, I think, we'll soon see that in residential segment also, because fundamentals are pretty strong. Lastly, the overall economy. We spoke about real estate and investment in real estate, government initiatives for real estate. Overall economy, the reports say that for India, the GDP growth projection is 6.3% for next fiscal year 2021. Do you agree to that number? And what do we need to do to achieve those numbers?
If you look at the growth trajectory for India, so let me start by FY20. So the last fiscal year, the GDP growth has been estimated at 4.2%, which is the lowest in the last 11 years. Okay, so post the global financial crisis, this is the lowest number that we've seen at 4.2%. Now for FY 2021, IMF is projecting the GDP growth to contract by around 4.5%. And this is not surprising because we have had last 4 months of lockdown, partial unlocking happening. So economic activities are really not up to 100% level. And this will get reflected in the GDP number. So the expectation is that for FY 2021, we will have a contraction of around 4.5%, which is in line with what we are seeing globally. It's not just India, the developed countries, US, UK, they're all expecting sharp contraction of around 8%, 10% for 2020. Now, the important thing is that IMF is expecting that for FY 2022, because the year after that, they're expecting growth at around 6%. So, this 6% growth is on a very low base of FY21. Nevertheless, it is a bounce. So on paper, yes, it is going to look like a V-shaped recovery. Now, but yes, it's going to be a very painful recovery, and it's mainly on a very low base of FY21. Now, what needs to be done to achieve this growth? I would say, as far as monetary policy is concerned, monetary policy stimulus, RBI has done a lot. Policy interest rate has been cut. Enough of liquidity has been injected into the system. Loan restructuring of many of the industry players that have been taken, that has been included. I would again say that one big thing which is required now is to stimulate demand. And for that, people do not have the confidence because people are concerned about their job losses and pay cuts. So it's important to boost their sentiment. And for that, it's important to ensure that there's more money in the hands of the people so that they get more confident to go ahead and spend that money. And hence, so that the consumption spending happens and that results in the companies also their revenue sales going up. So I would say the important parameter one is to boost demand in the economy through tax incentives or some other way. The other critical thing is that many of the sectors, like say hospitality, retail, airlines, and real estate sector, they have been severely hit by this COVID-19 crisis. While all sectors have been hit, but some of the sectors specifically have got more adversely impacted. So here I feel that the government should come out with some measures specifically targeted at these sectors to ensure that these sectors come out of this crisis. Because most of these sectors, if you look at it like retail, hospitality, tourism, real estate, they are all, sectors that employ large number of people. So, to ensure that there are not job losses happening in the economy, it's very important to help these sectors come out of the crisis. And that will, significantly reduce the pain for the economy. So I think broadly, I would say, to put it in a nutshell, the government should come up with more measures to invigorate demand in the economy. And secondly, there should be more measures targeted specifically at some of these sectors which have got severely impacted by this crisis.
Yeah, we have been listening to, again, loan restructuring for hospitality also. So let's hope if that comes in, and they will get some relief. And as you said, revival of economy is the biggest challenge which the government is also facing. And you mentioned that it is going to be a painful recovery. As you mentioned. So according to you, is it going to be a V recovery, or is it going to be a U, slow and steady recovery? How are you looking at it? What is your viewpoint?
Sapna, like I said, if you are talking about a 4.2% positive growth, 4.5% negative growth, and 6% positive growth, so on paper, it is a V-shaped recovery. But we should not get overly exuberant about that, because you have to understand this revival that we are talking about, the 6% growth in FY22. That is because of very low base of FY21. Nevertheless, we should also be optimistic because it is highlighting a revival.
That's great.
So I would say it is a V-shaped recovery, but it is going to be painful. And not
Indians are known to be resilient people, and Indian sector or the industries are also known to be very hardy, and they do face challenges with a lot of resilience that we know. We have seen it in past also. So thanks, Ms. Sinha. I think you cleared a lot of doubts for us and for our viewers on terms of how the economy is going to shape up. And we are all hoping for the positive and V-shaped recovery very soon. So thank you so much for being here with us, talking to us and sharing your views and sharing your time with us. Thanks, Ms. Sinha.
Thank you, Sapna.
Thank you.